And first phase is underway.
It's a very mental game.
Absolutely.
It can be extremely mentally taxing. I think the amount of pressure that is on the players, especially on the LCS stage, is extremely high, and then that is even doubled or tripled on the international stage and in the finals and in the playoffs and stuff. So you have to be very mentally strong, on top of obviously being mechanically proficient and all the other plethora of skills you need to be good at League.
There's the Kennen, the Caitlyn as well. TSM take the LeBlanc back for themselves on the blue side, as we see, and the Galio will be taken away instead of, I'm sorry, banned away instead of picked away this time.
Yeah, so no Galio going to be available there, but TSM know what they want. Lee Sin snap up immediately. Svenskeren is just so strong on the champion, really has been his best for quite some time, so going to grab that away, and likely we will see LirA now going to be going towards the Elise. That's what I'm expecting. There are other options, of course, but you can grab the Elise in the first round. Doesn't have to be these picks right now, but second pick, third pick makes a lot of sense.
You can see Violet there, chatting with LirA in the next pick here. A chance they obviously get their jungler or take it last. Besides what they do, they can take the Thresh away, but that's kind of giving quite a bit as well.
And Violet is a guy who, speaking of the mental side of pro gaming, he understands a lot about that. He comes from a very strong background of pro gaming himself. He was a very good StarCraft 2 pro gamer, so certainly has a lot of experience dealing with the pressure, and hopefully can help his team build up that mental fortitude.
Dirty Zerg.
Do even better.
But no, it really does help, especially the way he did it too, kind of boot camping as one of the first Western Korean players to do that under not like kind of a Korean structure. So knows the trials and tribulations of doing it from the ground up. Varus being picked out on the side of TSM, and then the Syndra, which was banned out last game, will go to the hands of Bjergsen.
This is actually pretty smart from TSM, and you may be saying, well, he can get counterpicked. Yes, but if you pick up something like the Echo or the Fizz or whatever here for Pirean, then you can ban out that jungle pool, so you don't get to have Elise and a mid lane counterpick. You get to have one or the other, and that is going to set up TSM pretty well in the draft, because Bjergsen is so extremely confident on Syndra. Even those tough matchups for him are not going to be that big of a deal, and so they choose the mid lane. Now you target the jungler. We will very likely not see Envy be able to get Elise.
I do agree with you there, and it might be troublesome. We know, as we said before, LirA's on Nidalee, Elise, and Lee are those victories that he has, so it's being aggressive. The Elise is gone, possibly. The Lee Sin is definitely gone. And we'll see here in the second ban phase if that's what TSM focuses. The Tahm Kench was shown, but actually banned out here as well to deny any arrow denial, if you will.
It would be interesting. I mean, TSM obviously doesn't have to ban Elise, but it's been so high priority on the list for almost every team that it would really be atypical for it to go all the way through to the second round when we know LirA plays it. We know it's early game strength, but sometimes there's bigger concerns on the table. Kha'Zix's really interesting. So they're actually trying to get him to play Elise, it seems like. Maybe just comfortable with LirA on that champion in general. That's pretty strange.
It is pretty strange, especially with the kind of like a Syndra. You can repel out, get some pretty sticky situations, and get yourself to safety. They do take the Renekton, which means they could be going for that dive buddy of Elise as well as it comes across. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, Envy, the most received ban that they have had this season. So teams have banned Elise against Envy more than any other champion, right? Like, so this is actually pretty interesting.
I don't know, they smile so fast. You know it's a fake. I hate that. They have a serious face. Malzahar in bot lane. The jokes, if he plays it, it'll be very interesting. Such a new Malzahar. They've really been focusing on the mid. 5 seconds left for him to switch over. It's going to be the Braum Daddy. Biofrost, as he shields up the team, they're looking to block arrows, orbs, and hooks coming into this game. The hook will still connect. And it looks like that will be the Elise in the jungle. They wait out and they feel comfortable last picking that for LirA. It made it all the way through.
Yeah, now he can have his chance to prove that they had made a mistake, to allow him to play that champion. You know, LirA is definitely such a strong jungler. He has not had as strong of a start, I would say, to Summer as he did throughout Spring. Really getting so much notoriety through his incredible play on the last place team in the Spring split. Definitely looking to have another dominant split for himself, but the Braum pick, pretty interesting. You know, after Tahm Kench had been taken away, often the answer to Thresh is just another kind of tanky support, someone who can soak up those hooks, really get in there and deal some damage.
We will see if those hooks land. We'll see how much level 1 action we get out of this bottom lane, since there has been more creeping up in the NA LCS as teams try to grab control for the lanes as soon as possible. EnVy's early game known to be good. Very much so thwarted last game by TSM, almost in a perfect matchup. Parth and Violet will head to the back if they leave the players with the last few words of wisdom. Hashtag TSM win, hashtag NV win as we make our way onto the Rift for game 2. Remember, player of the game, Hauntzer on Gragas, he'll get that again, so a lot of comfort back to the lane for TSM. A lot more crowd control, however, on the side of Team EnVy to make things work in those solo lanes to start things off here in game 2.
Yeah, the crowd control, I think, is an important part, right? If you're going to attack Hauntzer, if you want to be ganking him nonstop, then draft something that has stronger gank assist than the Rumble, right? And now they have that Renekton up there with a point-and-click stun. You can follow that up with the Cocoon here from Elise, so that's certainly something that they can look to attack.
Out of the gates, what is new, what is different? Apollo's going to actually start with the Doran's Blade over the shield going this time, and DoubleLift with the shield as well. We actually saw the Caitlyn Doran shield start yesterday too, so people switching it up for preference.
Yeah, some players, you know, it can depend not just on the AD carry, but the supports you're facing off against here as well.
For sure.
Because generally the kind of common wisdom is if you are going to smash a lane, like if you are super advantaged in that matchup, then you go Doran's Blade. Yeah. If you're going to be getting poked out and harassed, if you're the one on the defensive, then you should be going Doran's Shield to kind of survive that.
Everything else around the map seems pretty orthodox in the start, and we won't actually get too much Raptor control, or Raptor bullying, I should say.
Yeah.
Going. Hauntzer may try to get actually a barrel here. We'll see how Seraph and the rest of the team react.
I mean, Pirean is kind of hanging out in this side brush, which a Hauntzer may not expect. So if he actually does go up and try to harass at that place, he could get kind of a little bit of chunk of damage thrown back onto him. But this late, is he going to go? Yeah, I think he's still hanging around. So he's going to try to get something done. They may just decide to back off. Yeah, he stopped doing it, so he's just going to back off there. They have the ward, so they have some information on that. TSM also has a ward over on the blue buff of EnVy, and EnVy actually got no forward wards whatsoever. So they have no idea really where Svenskeren is starting. Yes, you can assume he's on Raptors, but you don't know for sure.
See if he can make any early moves off of that. It was actually quiet from the junglers to start previously. We'd have a level 4 or 5 gank coming in, which is relatively early in the game, but nothing really happened. It was just a win for TSM to take control of the lane, and then we saw that kind of happen around. It was Svenskeren for Hauntzer and DoubleLift Biofrost. We'll see if that changes here with Bjergsen on Syndra, because as Svenskeren said, it's hard to help every lane. We have to take, we have to give, and choose which ones to give resources to.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he is going to have a strong gank assist in all his lanes. So we'll have options, and here he is already.
There you go, level 2, a lot faster than game 1, and TSM keeps the ball rolling just 2.5 minutes in.
Really nice from Sven, just a 2-camp clear straight up to mid. Pirean not able to actually dodge anything, gets hit by the Scatter of the Weak, doesn't use his exhaust, just goes down so quickly there. Really not expecting, and they kind of need everything to connect. But Pirean just didn't really react, and once he had been hit by the first stun, there's no chance for him to react, so it's smart to hold your summoners after that. You're going to die anyway. But ideally, he would have had to kind of flash that Scatter of the Weak, but that's a tough call to make. If you're not expecting Elise to be there, that would be a wasted summoner.
Also looks to play on kind of the trickery of the exhaust on Bjergsen. Hook in the bot. Going to be good harass here from Apollo and Hakuho.
That was actually really nice because Biofrost was trying to use his shield to block it out and then actually kill off the cannon with his Targon. So not only did they steal away that cannon through that hook, they got a ton of harass down because Doubles wasn't ready to last hitting.
It's nice to look for as a Thresh player. Up in front of the turret here is one of your favorite parts. You wait for your ADC
set up a dive
to clear one minion, get yourself in range. The hook to get out your jungler, or rather the lantern if you need it, I should say. The hook for safety and the heal from DoubleLift there. They're able to get out. So quick moves on the bot means Svenskeren can safely do something top with Hauntzer.
Yeah, and Seraph is really low. He just uses Slice and Dice. He's going to be in trouble here. I think this is a tough dive to actually get out of.
Oh, the minions are just too far off. Hauntzer doesn't have mana to clear it up quick enough.
Yeah, he's saving his mana for the dive. He's going to start this up with the W, damage reduction up, hit the stun, free Q, and then they get that.
Shield in, the burn is down. Oh, dashes back through. Would have taken the auto anyways, and Pirean gets stopped by Bjergsen on the roam up. TSM one step ahead on a lot of these plays so far. 2-0 before 5 minutes.
That was just perfectly done. Like, actually a flawless dive there from TSM. They don't even have to expend a summoner. They get the flash out of Seraph. That was so well executed. Hauntzer with the W damage reduction, just starting it up. He hits the body slam to guarantee the Q coming in from Sven. Neither of them need to flash. They tank up the turret the appropriate amount. Like, that is just really well done.
Renekton is not the easiest person to dive either.
Yeah, it's really actually one of the harder ones. So they push it in, he saves his mana, they wait for the stun to guarantee the skill shot. Right there, no chance to dive. Seraph flashes away, don't even panic react on the flash. Svenskeren finishes with the auto while Hauntzer is tanking. That was so well done.
Pirean gets pushed out of mid after the result of Bjergsen catching him and then a bit of further damage. Still good damage here from Seraph if he can work the Rage or his Fury over 50%.
Oh,
he'll heal up
here
nicely.
Again.
He just came back. This is teleport down. If it's a hard push from Hauntzer, he'll have a long walk back to lane. It seems like that's going to be the situation anyways. The Cole being stacked by Seraph on the Renekton.
Yep, didn't really have a great buy and didn't feel he needed that Doran's shield, so, or rather a Doran's blade, so decided to go for the Cole. A little bit of a more later stage item. It's always a bit strange to me, though, when I see someone like a Renekton going for more of like the scaling item, if you will, because he is having his most effectiveness kind of early in the game. He is that lane bully. But so far, Svenskeren is so active in this early game, and you know, you compared it to the last time when they were playing it very slowly, they were playing it very passively. It's been really the opposite of that. I mean, an early dive, the first blood right off the bat, and then already returned again top lane to push Seraph back to base once more. Svenskeren has been everywhere, and LirA has not been able to keep up.
Well, a few more tags. DoubleLift dancing around the minions in the caster line. Can't get the shots on the Hakuho. But it is true as well. It's TSM saying we have to keep things tempered, but I'm sure fans are happy to see that the game can be turned on right away. They can keep the advantages going. Because you can't always give like an early game to another team and rely on those Orianna shockwaves late game or being able to outposition it there.
And for jungle, it's so much about being unpredictable, right? Like, if you always run a passive jungle style, then your opponents can either meet you at their buffs, they can counter jungle you, they can gank freely knowing that you will not be there to counter jungle, or sorry, rather counter gank. And when you do these level 2 ganks, when you mix them in, it makes you so unpredictable. The opposing laners have to play very scared all of a sudden. They have to, you know, wonder, is he going to be here early? Can I go for the CS? Do I have to sit back? And you can create advantages for your team without even doing anything, just because they're scared that you might be doing something.
It is interesting that even at this level of play as well, and not a knock to any of the players, that these things still catch them off guard. As I said, there's so many things to think about. The mentality of going into a game, that wasn't even like a one side that Pirean was hugging. It was just a mid lane game. And
it's important to remember that you cannot account for everything.
Exactly.
If you try to play 100% like perfectly safe, no matter any time a jungler could be there, you will lose the lane because you will have to give up too much, right? You have to still be able to play aggressive. You have to still bully your opponents and go up for farm because you can't afford to just sit back and give your opponent the benefit of doubt every single time. So it's tough.
Envy doing a bit more of what they couldn't last time, and that was set up the vision. But you see what happens as soon as they step out of their own vision, they get into very scary situations. And the Dark Passage helping out Envy this game. You can see TSM coming up short on a kill there.
Yeah, Hakuho, really nice roam over to the mid lane. Knowing something might be breaking out there, saves his jungler. Sven followed with the flash, thinking that was going to be a free kill, but Hakuho had another idea.
I agree. I mean, you're clearing wards for over 10 seconds. You gotta think somebody's creeping over towards your way. Hakuho was thinking on that sixth sense.
Oh, they're going for the dive.
But when Hakuho leaves lane, Apollo is only there to play alone, and TSM make it threes a crowd to the bot side and taking down Apollo.
Sven is just everywhere. All 3 kills for TSM in the early game. He's off to such a good start. We'll see if he can continue snowballing, because Elise is a great champion to do it on.
A little bit more aggression from Seraph in the top is going to help. That CS lead is not as big as last game. And the option here to take down Hauntzer is a possibility. Getting his flash out after the body slam. He has teleport to get back. But we're definitely seeing a change on the top side. TSM still grabbing first Drake. So the flow of the game, very much like game 1 here, with a bit of a change in the lanes of Envy.
Yeah, and Hauntzer, again, you know, he gets away from that pressure. He knows that when his jungler is on bot side, the pressure is coming top side, there's no way for him to actually stay around and defend that dive. So very intelligently, blows the flash, blows the ult, uses everything to get out, knowing that he's on the weak side of the map. And then he can go back and actually pick up the wave, because Biofrost started the roam top, and while he's not going to complete it, this was in case LirA had hung around to try to dive him as soon as he got back to that turret. Because if you don't have that safety net and you're returning to the turret without flash and without ultimate, you can certainly be in danger. So these little moves from TSM are very smart, and these are things that can allow you to stay relevant in a lane and pick up the farm and not fall behind.
Talking about not falling behind, DoubleLift and Biofrost again with the upper hand on that bot side, giving Biofrost the ability to make these roams now as he gives resources to Bjergsen, clearing the wards towards his top side and making sure that lane Hauntzer to Bjergsen downriver is quite clean. Still no items yet for Seraph. Feels good with this call. It's about 40 to go as he farms himself up in the lane. He's actually winning the trades for now, but as long as he can keep Hauntzer in lane, it really helps his team out.
Yeah, I mean, Renekton can bully this matchup in the 1v1, but Gragas has so much playing potential. Oh, whoa! Flash ult whiff!
Oh, just under the tails of Pirean. Is there enough to finish? Unleashes the power onto Pirean, and he stays alive with the exhaust just at the last moment.
DoubleLift was trying to pull off the keep, but couldn't make it happen.
Nice block, getting the concussive blows back onto the members of Envy. LirA wants to go in. He's ready to be crowd controlled. Piercing arrow's not going to mark it. That's the stun onto Svenskeren as TSM feels like they can take the fight. Envy just plays their vision here. They prep the fight, and now they're going to take it. Got to be careful on the exit. Hauntzer on a good spot to separate them and possibly pick one off, and Bjergsen is ready to do the same.
Yeah, and going for a play like that from DoubleLift is risky, and they're going to get punished so hard. You commit the flash ultimate on Varus, he whiffs. Now you have no way out of the fight. You have no way to retaliate in the fight when they come in, and now Hauntzer is going to get chased down too. Their whole team is just dying.
Things are getting a little sketchy here. Exhaust goes down onto Hauntzer. He finally goes down. But Envy was dancing around, not getting much after this fight. But the fight is theirs. They do pick up the kills, and it'll help some item spikes.
Yeah, not able to make it happen for TSM, and Envy now is ahead after TSM had been in full control for so long. And
see this again.
We're gonna see it again. I think this is after actually the initial play had already happened. This is after DoubleLift had already gone for that flash ultimate and missed. They go up, they're fighting. The TP comes in, the Ashe arrow already connects from very far away. Now Seraph dashing forward on DoubleLift, who does not have his summoner. So the whole Envy team knows that summoner is down. They can commit, they can fly into that fight, and then I'm not actually even sure how Hauntzer got cut out at the very end of it. He just kind of stayed around a little bit too long after the TP.
TP in, yeah, he was mid-side, and then he somehow filtered down to the dragon and was walking along the beach with Envy.
Maybe he was just trying to pick up a wave bot side, you know, that would have been getting pushed in, so wanted to try to get down there and pick that up probably, but did not have the support to do so, as the rest of his team was already dead.
Well, Envy with strong early games are usually able to hold that off for quite a while. See if they can keep this up against TSM. Items for Apollo definitely spiking a bit as we see the recurve bow already built. Face-offs between that bot lane should be in the favor of Envy.
Yeah, I mean, he got a couple kills off that, right? He was down a few CS before, and not only did he get the minion advantage, but he's up a couple kills. And LirA, who had been really kind of trailing behind Svenskeren, is now up a level, picked up some kills and assists himself, and now he's right back in there.
Time to dance in the jungle. Oh, Svenskeren! Repeating a little bit of history there, getting himself in trouble, and the team's not able to react fast enough. It looks like he thought Bjergsen would be there in time. They are in their own jungle, but that does not seem safe at this point. That's going to be Biofrost locked up as well, possibly another hook from Hakuho. They turn off, and the bot side just got taken over by Envy.
I mean, DoubleLift wanted to try to come up with Biofrost to see if they can contest that, but their jungler's already dead. You are a flashless AD carry. You know, what are you going to accomplish there? Are you trying to randomly steal it with a Varus Q? I guess that's the hope, but that is very risky, and Envy makes them pay again. TSM is really playing this very sloppy, and Envy is punishing them so heavily after what was a great few early minutes for TSM.
It becomes really hard to grab control on the map too when you come up from a spawn, you go back down. This was Sven dying just up on the right side of your map, spawns to go for his camps, and Envy's already in the jungle.
Yeah, so Biofrost and DoubleLift come up. I guess they're just going to try to steal it away, but the ward is already there.
Oh.
Beautiful hook from Hakuho over the wall. DoubleLift is flashless, so again, they can fully commit to it. They get 2 kills and the red buff. Now TSM trying to set up a dive here top, but Envy is on the way.
They want Hauntzer, or I'm sorry, they want Seraph, I should say. And we can lock him down. Concussive blows was a nice hit from Biofrost. He also throws one back, so Envy cannot get anything on the escape here for TSM. Bjergsen was able to stay mid, so this is good for TSM to get this back and be able to work some turrets.
Yeah, definitely important for TSM to get a play back, build up some of that confidence. They push out mid lane, so CS is being denied there. They deny a little bit to the turret and get a kill on a Seraph, so all good things going their way. But they are still definitely behind and have really lost control of the tempo of this game.
I think there's a lot like Game 1 could have been if we saw some of those 100 HP kills going over, like the analyst S was saying.
Good point.
It's just kind of, this game could have been so different based on a few kills.
And when you have those games where the first kill you barely miss out on, and the second kill you barely miss out on, well, you would have had the gold, and you would have actually gotten that second kill because you would have had the extra damage. So those definitely are things that can make a big difference, but now Envy trying to force their advantage around this Infernal Dragon. That would be a big one for them, but they don't really necessarily have a setup to do this. There's more TSM members kind of in the area right now, and it may come down to a smite fight.
There we go. Saved at 2,000.
No, Sven's just going to give it up, backs off, doesn't have his smite available actually, so we'll have to seed that dragon, and that's a big one going over to Envy.
Top lane push, looks like Seraph's gonna peel off of this one. They can head mid together. We just want to get some ward clearing down. Envy has great vision on the bot side. They gotta make sure if anything happens top, they need to move that vision. Right now, it looks a bit scary.
This would be, yeah, it would be a bit scary. It would be really nice for Envy, though, if they can defend the top turret, because that's the trade that TSM was trying to make. Oh, now onto Bjergsen.
One hit, the cocoon. Oh, actually, cleansed out immediately by Bjergsen. Isn't enough to save his life. He throws back the power. It's not enough to take down Pirean.
Oh.
One last shot. And the 100 HP escapes are now in favor of Envy. Is it another kill? It's going to be a kickback for LirA, and he doesn't have the repel to get into range. And Envy now starts getting alongside of the stick. They get away by the skin of their teeth.
Super aggressive play there from Envy. They pull it off to kill up Bjergsen. They get both his summoners and survive. So really well done. They defend the top side. They get a kill mid. They take away the Infernal. They're making plays across the map, and they are really looking good.
Almost a 3K gold lead here. Apollo should be able to bump that just over as TSM are approaching 25,000 gold. And he has free time here. Biofrost, rather Hakuho, as he's on Thresh now, should be able to help him out. And they may even decide to go into DoubleLift. They see only one person approaching. They don't have lane vision. And their minion wave is just a bit off here, so they play it safe. LirA is backing, so a little bit of breathing room here as we watch this mid replay again on Bjergsen.
Yeah, really nice charm over the wall. Bjergsen with the immediate flash. Such a fast cleanse from him too, but they have the exhaust to follow up, and that is what allows them to continue the dive. They put the exhaust after the cleanse is used, and then despite Bjergsen having that ultimate still available, it's not enough to take down Pirean. Really well played on both sides, and LirA also hit a flash cocoon in the midst of that too to follow up and force the cleanse.
See how this is going. CS quite even between Hauntzer and Seraph. Much more of an impact here from Seraph on this Renekton. Black Cleaver first, finished his call. The Rumble last game with the boots start as well was not kind of his style of play. It just seemed like his damage was lacking, of course, but the things he could do was lacking.
And a really big difference is also just the fact that Envy has a much more diverse damage profile, right? You have an AD top laner, you have your ADC, then you have an AP jungle and mid, and then kind of just more of like a supportive support player. So
very supportive.
He's very supportive.
Doing a great job at that.
He's butt pats all around from the Thresh.
Butt pats, I like it.
Yeah,
good game.
It's just it's a better comp. It's a more well-rounded comp, right? So they are not just going to get outscaled by any means.
You can't build one item.
Yeah, there's no one catch-all, right? And that makes it tough. And the TP now coming in from TSM, they're looking for a play.
Good
Verifol whiffs again.
Onto the ward. All right, looks like they're going to answer back with Seraph. He can dash. Oh, he got bumped from dashing over the wall. He is left out to dry. The flash is going to put him back, and that is Hauntzer going down immediately as the damage for the fight was on the bottom side. Somehow Envy has flipped it. Now both top laners are down. It is a back and forth next to the Rift Herald. Svenskeren's low, and he moves out, and looks like Envy comes out healthier.
Yeah, it's a trade, and they're going to get the first turret. That's big for Envy. So they trade kills, they get first turret. You know, you do kind of question Seraph completing that TP, though, you know, into the middle of TSM. Yeah. Envy had already been able to disengage, and TSM will force down a turret, but Seraph could have kept TP advantage, shoved bot side, got an edge there, while the rest of Envy disengages, but they are going to go for this Rift Herald, and they can use that to try to break mid if they go for it, but TSM is in the area, and they see them.
A lot of pings. Svenskeren back to healthy. That's just a ball left by Bjergsen. He didn't choose to scatter that. And wow, if this is TSM's, what's the hit from LirA? Oh, he smites too early. That goes over to Svenskeren. They are going to be able to get on the Herald Charm as well. The Shrine is picked up, which means top turret's about to go down. They can go ahead and use this bottom during the time. I mean, 15 seconds on Baron, but I don't think the damage is just there yet for Envy unless everybody is at the objective.
Yeah, but TSM likely will be able to use that to break another turret, so they get a kill, they get that Rift Herald objective, very big for them. A little bit sloppy, though, from Envy. You know, they actually had a pink ward for the area, but they didn't drop it until the Rift Herald was almost done, so they never realized that they were sitting on a ward doing it the entire time, and that allowed TSM to collapse, eventually get that kill, and the advantage there. So, you know, now they have dropped the pink, now they know that they were warded out, and they start to back off, but when it's that low, the Rift Herald actually has a very big leash range, so TSM can just go in, try to finish it off. LirA decides to commit for the smite, knowing it's probably going to be a one-way trip here, but goes for the early smite. Svenskeren follows, gets that, and the kill.
Hakuho ran over, he's like, yes, oh, nope, bad idea.
It's also pretty interesting how heavily Seraph is itemizing for the 1v1. He's actually building Blade of the Rune King on the Renekton, and that is for the percent HP damage, you know, and that lifesteal's trying to punch through Hauntzer on that tank, because if you could go the standard Titanic Hydra route, that is more powerful, I would say, for the team fights, but it's weaker for the 1v1 against a tank. You can't burst down that Gragas very easily. So he's really trying to do this kind of split push Renekton style build. We'll see if he can make it work. He's going to be way squishier in team fights, like very, very susceptible game burst.
See if they can keep him on the outside. If Envy can work somewhat of a split push here. They are pulling themselves into team fights, so we can definitely expect to see Seraph coming in with his dominance on. Right now back in that 1v1 with Hauntzer. Iceborne Gauntlet versus that Black Cleaver build. It doesn't look like they tear each other apart too much. But it's about Seraph being able to stay alive, heal up, keep doing that damage. What this build is doing.
Yeah, it can be pretty tough to actually fully dominate a lane against like a wave clear tank, though. You know, Gragas likely will be able to keep killing those waves off and just kind of disengaging. Like, he doesn't have to decide to fight you, right? Like, it's still going to take you a long time to actually kill him off. Now they're going to pop the Rift Herald top side, though. They are looking to crack that tier 2 turret.
I was wondering if they were just going to use it for a second tier after they break it down.
Good hook.
Numbers are up. Biofrost has not attacked just yet, so he gets out safe without any turret damage. Pirean looks to maybe finalize somebody here, but they don't have enough forward vision to make a charm work. Whoa, very interesting position from Hakuho. Without that vision, we were just talking about Apollo. Could take down Sven, has to back off. This is a fight that could result now in Envy's favor. It was Seraph mid. He's trying to make the long run top, but he's got Hauntzer on his tail.
Yeah, Seraph might be able to cut them off. They can keep chasing. We'll see if they can catch up. He probably should have gone down.
Yeah, they pinched together right in the river. There's no exit stop now, and Hauntzer may actually be able to take them out.
Seraph over the wall, though, uses Slice Nice on Bjergsen.
Yeah, they are going to be there. It's the kill onto LirA, though, coming from the power of Bjergsen, and now Hauntzer's left on a ward. They still need to clear some waves here, but Envy is still responding to all of these. They're repairing before they can attack.
Yeah, and it's a very big counter kill to take out LirA because that stops them from going for the Baron and threatening something like that. That's actually pretty nice from Apollo. It was a kick over from Svenskeren and the QSS flash from Apollo to trade all that damage down to Svenskeren and stop himself from going down. So getting all that damage down meant that LirA and Pirean can kind of flood forward, look for this pinch. Seraph realizes he probably should have gone around, but he has the slicing dice. He can get down to the bot side here and does clean up this kill. But LirA, you know, there's no real reason to kind of finish that repel. Like, you can just sit up in the air and wait for Seraph to kill off Bjergsen. That's one of those things where you get a little bit too greedy and you kind of want the kill yourself.
No.
Yeah. And I think it's
no one does that.
A little bit ill-advised. You know, sometimes you can just play it safe. If you're low HP or potential to be burst down, back off, let your teammate finish them.
We actually see the fast QSS, that quick service Ashe with Apollo, already being used by him. Purchased just like DoubleLift did last game, so they can keep this crowd control off of them. Quite a bit within these team comps they're building for each other. Just about a 2K gold lead for Envy, still very much so within reach.
Also interesting to see LirA going for much more of a pure tank style on the Elise. Very common to see full AP these days. Pretty rare actually to see these sort of tank style builds. You rush the Deadmans, he has Merc Treads, he's building into probably a Spear Visage. Could be something else as well, you know, something like an Abyssal Mask can be nice to amp both your damage and that of the Ahri. But definitely going to be more of the supportive kind of tank. Probably to make up for the fact that Seraph is going more of a glass cannon Renekton, right? You need to tank somewhere.
Going for a try.
Oh, there they go.
Oh, knocked down and locked up as LirA as he goes over the wall. Seraph comes in. Dominus immediately in defense. He can't even get the HP damage over onto TSM, and they are running for the hills on this one. TSM with enough ward coverage and vision wards to stay here towards this top side and absorb a fight if they really want to. Looks like they spread out though.
Yeah, Sven with another good put. Just looks like he kicks in LirA there to start that fight off, and Seraph wants to be in a side lane. He wants to be 1v1. He doesn't want to be grouping and fighting here, and now looking to set up once again. Biofrost had almost gone down in that fight. It could have been a trade, but in the end it was not.
He extended. Like Envy staying around a little too long. Should be good. They still have a turret down on the bot side. He knows that. Hauntzer fighting over it for quite a while. Top lane's push. You can see Pirean coming down. A bit of a mixed call here. He went back and forth. Now we'll have the wave in their favor. And we'll see the little college try for the arrow.
This arrow, and then really nice, just quick ward hop over, kicks in LirA, takes him down right away despite him being that tank, and then Biofrost able to just eke out and survive. And not only does TSM get the kill, they forced out a number of summoners, right? That was the flash from Seraph, the flash from Hakuho, all in that extended fight. So that's something that they can look to pick on later.
TSM kind of working on the fact that their team excels at jumping out of the brush. Having vision over Envy is something that they just controlled in mid as Envy tries to take that back. These Fog of War engages from Bjergsen, scatter from Svenskeren, jumping out and getting a kick, or Hauntzer with a barrel. Less and less. Maybe try to group around Baron for a contest. Just about 27 minutes in.
You can really see like all the Merc Treads being picked up for TSM because of the massive amount of CC out of Envy here. Every member of Envy has some sort of crowd control that is induced by those Merc Treads. DoubleLift, his answer is going to be the QSS. So they all are kind of respecting that. Because if you do get caught out, if you do get hit by one of those CCs, it's so easy for Envy to lair it and just not allow you to move from 100 to 0.
I think it's Pirean's trigger. If he hears an arrow hit or a cocoon hit, he Spirit Rush Charm, and you are obliterated.
Yeah, you hit the arrow, then you follow up with Charm, you have Hook, you have Cocoon, you have so many ways to lock these guys down, and that's why the Merc Treads are going to be super, super effective.
Blade of the Ruin King finished up there for Seraph, as we've seen. About a 20 CS lead as well. Teleports half up, and it's about 3/4 here on the side of Hauntzer, so they will be able to play on that possibly sooner. Bot lane very close to going down. I wonder if Seraph will actually just kind of stay in the face of Hauntzer this time and drop that one. Yeah, Hauntzer's going to give it.
Yeah, it's too low to really hang around because in those situations, that's where you actually could get killed off of your Hauntzer, right? If he focuses down that turret, then he has this Blade of the Ruin King and a bit of a long lane to try to chase you down. That's why Hauntzer is essentially just not fighting. He just wave clears, he backs off. That's all he has to accomplish to really stall out the Renekton. Because to make the Blade of the Ruin King worthwhile, you have to be really pressuring the pace, killing turrets, getting solo kills, like pressuring that solo team very heavily because it's probably going to be to your detriment that you built it in the 5v5 team fight, where Hauntzer is going to succeed as a whole tank.
Really last hit those minions.
There you go.
Real fast.
Titanic Hydra unfortunately does that better too. Yeah. Instantly push out the wave. So
damn it.
It's just about the dueling, right?
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
All in on the dueling power. And that's kind of Seraph's playstyle. He's a guy who always likes to play these bully laners. We love to play Jace a lot. TSM now looking for a pick on a Pirean. He's on the wrong side of the map, probably going to get chased down.
Orb of Deception knocked out. Flashed around, back and forth. The Fox dances herself out, and Pirean is safe.
Actually really well done by Pirean. Just kind of kept dashing down, went back and around, flash over the wall, knowing that TSM would be coming to collapse. So TSM spends a fair bit of time there. Yes, he had to blow his summoner, but I say that's pretty good for EnVy.
Buy a little time for the team, waste a little time for TSM. That's a big push. It is a double wave for Hauntzer to soak up here. He may just be able to catch up to Seraph, but now what's Seraph's move? How close is he? Now does this start at River for him, and then he's in Hauntzer's face even sooner? EnVy gets a play across the map. Looks like they're actually going for somewhat of a 1-3-1 until they get too far past River. Well, it's a little too dangerous.
Yeah, and Pirean's going to have to be more careful now, knowing he doesn't have his flash and his Spirit Rush is still down. So TSM could look to force. They know that 2 of EnVy's members are in the side lane now as Seraph does show up, and Pirean had already been showing on those minions, so they can look to try to pressure. If you're going to bring Gragas topside, then you need to get something done on the side. So for now, they will send him back bot, just answer the split push, and that buys them more time to kind of play that passive style.
Some forward wards here are seeing Pirean on his move over. TSM, same brush as last time. They are ready to get a kill onto somebody. That was LirA actually getting a little too close. Remember, kicked into the brush. Here now they can see TSM waiting for the exact same thing. Able to evade this time. Whoa, everything onto the shield. And they are going to be able to drop, and they say the crowd control is there for long enough. Seraph's going to be in the fight as well. Svenskeren down to 100 HP. If it were to be AD,
now they're going to layer that
dead, and now they're on to Hauntzer. TSM coming in one by one and dropping the same to EnVy in the mid lane.
That was so well done by EnVy. The crowd control, and now they catch Bjergsen.
It's the cleanse out. Hakuho, I thought he could take it, but Bjergsen had some spheres on the ground to up the damage, and they have gotten one back. It won't slow down EnVy, though, looking to contest Baron. Here comes Svenskeren.
And they know that there's no ultimate on DoubleLift, no ultimate on Bjergsen or Sven. So EnVy can always turn for the fight, and they catch a charm on Bjergsen.
5,000 HP, exhaust down onto him as well, but they scatter him back. This gives Sven time. Is he in? The kick is down, and so is his flash to get out. But they stop Baron. That's what the objective was.
TSM is able to delay that, and they will reset. LirA moving around here. Is he? Oh, they're actually gonna blast cone back in.
Better watch out for spike damage on the back side. It's gonna do a bit more.
Spot this.
Biofrost will see Svenskeren just over at Gromp, and they may have sealed their fate. LirA down to 150 HP, an instant kill. Svenskeren kicks him. Doesn't even leave it up to choice. And now they're on to Seraph. What is this choice this day as they try to get under the skin of TSM? They're, of course, going to put Vision back at Baron.
They tried to get so clever there. They think for sure TSM will be resetting, but Biofrost had respawned. He's out on the map, walks straight to the Baron pit, and finds EnVy at almost no HP. Oh.
I mean, it goes both ways, but you play the percentage on this one, and it's almost never going to work out for you. If they got it, it'd been great, but that percentage is just too high to fail.
Yeah, it is, and they do get punched, but watch the CC chain. There's the cocoon, into the Ashe arrow, into the hook, now a charm. Biofrost never gets to move, and then the same thing happens on the next kill here. Hauntzer, very tanky, probably fine, right? Hooked up, then you get the cocoon, then the charm. It's just CC after CC after CC there. Being able to lock these guys down and pick up those kills, and we know what happened in the extended play.
Oh, we know.
I mean, it would have been really cool, to be fair to EnVy, if they pulled that off. Like, that would have been super clever, but to your point, is it worth the risk, right? EnVy was in a position of control. They were doing pretty well for themselves in this game. You know, they had more dragons. They have, you know, a lot of advantages. And to risk something like that at the Baron, maybe it wasn't worth it, but it depends on your mindset. It depends on how you feel you're doing in the game. Because if they felt that they were at a disadvantage, maybe they think, hey, this is a risky play, but it's our best chance to win.
Right, and TSM, they lose Sven off that again. They still protect mid. They still protect the turrets with Bjergsen and Hauntzer wave clear. So that one just raises the percentage for them wanting to do it even more.
Yep. And Bjergsen now is getting so strong. I mean, he was already on 3 items. He's closing in on the death cap now. We saw how fast he was able to kill off Hakuho, and really, if anyone missed positions, he can burst them down so easily. They can really play front to back. They don't have to dive, do anything too crazy.
And they have brought the entire family to the bot side. Hauntzer a little too close for comfort. That's Seraph down first, though, as TSM somehow turned it in their favor. Svenskeren lives with like single-digit HP. What is this game? And the turret will go down. That's not going to live with any HP. EnVy, without Seraph, cannot find a way to the back line. Only a hook or a charm on the front. And LirA's even too low to try and get in. TSM start controlling the fights once again.
Yeah, just not quite enough damage there for EnVy, and it looks like yeah, Pirean never used his Spirit Rush, right? So almost kill off Hauntzer, almost kill off Svenskeren, but Ahri, the mid laner, never pulled the trigger on the Spirit Rush. So maybe, you know, waiting for that perfect opportunity to try to assassinate DoubleLift or something. But you gotta feel, if you pull the trigger there, you probably kill off both the tank top lane and the jungle, right? That could have been 2 kills, but you know, it's tough because maybe he's worried about, you know, using that and then getting CC'd and dying or something. But
I really don't think I've said what if in the series more than this one.
So many close margins, right? And then anytime you're in a game and you have all these fights that are coming down to the wire that are so close, these little decisions really do decide the fight. You have to wonder what would have looked like had Pirean used his ultimate now.
Hauntzer been down, Svenskeren down, and that is pretty squishy. People trying to run away down a very long lane with a fast team. So TSM now in control towards the mid lane. Top second tier as well can be taken out, but they're just working off where the big objectives would be at this point. Bot lane first, and then around the horn. Much closer game in terms of kills, but once the map control is in TSM's favor, they just seem to work around Team EnVy now.
They really do, and one of the other things working in TSM's favor is that Seraph wanted to go for the split push style. When you get the Baron, you essentially deny that because you can push so heavily, your team cannot effectively wave clear against the Baron minions, so you force the Renekton to group much more often than he would want to.
Making his job that much harder. You can see him trying to do work as soon as possible on the bot lane. He's got a huge wave with him, which obviously means he's going to pull Hauntzer's respect to there. But then what is his move? Is it to just back? He's getting full on items here. You can see Warden's Mail already. Just he tries to get some more items in. Sold 2 Vision Wards for himself. So he's not sitting on too much gold. Just making sure he can actually get himself enough pressure in the lanes. Hopefully a return on investment from those wards for him. Yeah,
they really do need the vision control, and especially if he wants to split push, you have to have that as the safety net. Seraph now, checking forward. Oh! Ouch.
He had a vision ward there, I bet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He was trying to place it over the red. It's one of the safest places you can do it, but still, TSM is ready. When you're a few steps ahead, you kind of just fall into their traps.
And you are going to be squishier, right? You'd have a couple hundred more HP if you have a Titanic Hydra. Maybe survives the burst. That's hard to say. But he does have, you know, a decent amount of MR and stuff to his credit. You know, he has a full Spirit Visage and those Merc Treads, but he still gets burst down because Bjergsen is already on a death cap and his Void Theft. Like, Bjergsen is insanely strong, and when the Syndra starts clobbering your tank like that, it's so frightening because she doesn't even have to find backline access to win the fight. Right. You can just ult your front line, and with DoubleLift and the rest of the damage coming through, they'll punch through your front line and then just win front to back.
Bjergsen Syndra as well, pretty fascinating to watch here as they go about more fights. You'll see him kind of hiding spheres in a brush. One here, one there. At the Baron fight earlier, he put a few in the pixel brush. So an unsuspecting person would get a much stronger ultimate. You see the same thing with Ori players. Just the little things they do to make it that much more powerful when you say, how'd he zero that guy out? He was hiding the spheres. 14 to 12, nice cleanse there. Oh my god, Hakuho almost down from 100 to 0 immediately with just a few of those spheres from Bjergsen. Blue buff is on him so he can keep delivering the pain. Fires over to Apollo. The flash out, can't even get his heal off in time as he drops to the ground. And now Seraph, the one of the tankiest of the team, trying to get himself up front and do the damage. He's a little bit of both this time and can't find the kills on the other end. And the inhibitor goes down in favor of TSM, and they have quite a wave on the bot side if they want to stay. A minute onto Baron if they want to set things up, though.
Yeah, Apollo QSS flashed out of there and lost about 80% of his health to the Syndra ultimate. Bjergsen just practically 100%ed him, and he's just completely taking over the game. And
one more time.
You know, just look at the W damage there on the Hakuho. Hakuho almost gets killed off. Then Svenskeren goes in, he finds a route in onto Apollo. It was actually the Gragas ultimate knocking him back, and then just straight up almost 100 to 0. Didn't get his heal off in time.
7-ball ultimate. Painful.
It's a lot of balls.
You're telling me. 70,000 to 65 as EnVy kind of getting a bigger deficit, I should say. The gap growing in favor of TSM, if you will.
And Baron is coming up. They have the inhibitor down in the mid lane, so that's one extra point of pressure for TSM. Makes it easier for them to get vision control and threaten this Baron. For EnVy, though, at least it's not the bot side inhibitor. The one in mid lane is the easiest to actually defend the Baron from because you simply push up mid as a team and then you can rotate to the Baron very quickly. So while you never want to have any inhibitor down, if there were one that you would choose, it would be mid.
Ward coverage just being cleared out. The vision for Envy is inside their base now. They're still trying to get a few fights.
They've been out-rotated.
Yeah, out-rotated is definitely the right way to say it. Looking for a pick of their own, maybe to catch TSM at Baron a little hurt. But they have just been routed to the top side. Inhibitor goes down without any contest from Envy, and it looks like the Inhibitor will follow. Bot lane is kind of a saving grace for them if they want to take a fight, and they win. They have a chance to get some room on those bottom turrets. Don't think it's going to be the case, though. Inhibitor goes down. DoubleLift looking to stay on the back line here as the Redemptions cross each other. That's the initiation as the final help comes through. Pirean goes down. A huge hit from Svenskeren to start things off. And the rest of the team, they hear the bell. They are ready to clean up the rest of the fight. And the Nexus turrets start to fall in favor of TSM. It was a bit more back and forth this time. But the Baron call, giving TSM the upper hand in the middle of the game, allow them to find a way into Envy's base. And allow them to get the 2-0 victory over Envy 40 minutes in.
Svenskeren finishing the game the way he started, dominating Envy. That was such a sick kick through 4 members of Envy there to cap that game. And he had a really good early game too, you know, moving around the map. It's a very strong series from Svenskeren overall. 2 Lee Sin games, he looked very good.
He got stuck there twice, but the team kind of recouped. They said, whoa, we're falling back into that. We're a little ahead of ourselves. Envy started to get into their jungle. They weren't respecting that. And that also, I think, goes both ways. We think of TSM saying, hey, you know, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That also goes with kind of disrespecting teams, not thinking Envy would be that far up in those. Svenskeren went down, he came up, he went down because LirA was right there at his red, wasn't expecting it. So they're definitely learning, growing, and we've always known TSM to be a team to, I feel, learn more between games than adapt in them, and we're seeing that in-game adaptation a little bit more now.
For sure, and we're also just seeing, once again, how strong Bjergsen is on Syndra. I mean, this guy has been known for this champion for so long, and it just felt like he got to a certain point, and it was almost hopeless for Envy because he is just destroying not only the AD carry, like 100%ing Apollo, but he's taking that front line. He's ultimating supports and insta-killing them. Like, when you get to that point on Syndra where you can kill anyone, it's so tough to deal with.
And that was one of the first bans we saw coming out of Envy in game 1. Take that Syndra away, the LeBlanc was gone, take away a lot of those assassins he can change a game with. And we even an Ori falls into that case for him. DoubleLift on screen with the thumbs up.
That was such a funny camera shot. DoubleLift wasn't even in it, and they just pops up out of nowhere.
And that's what they did. TSM's bot lane popped up a little bit better today. Yesterday against Piglet and Matt, they weren't having that hot of a time. Here, winning lane, a few more kills, and looking pretty good on some different champions.
Yeah, I mean, definitely game 1. DoubleLift and Biofrost, I think, will be pretty happy with that one as far as the bot lane goes. Game 2 was not DoubleLift's best game. I mean, really, when the game started to swing back to Envy was him going mid lane, the missed ult flash on Varus, and then he gets caught out a couple times in a row, dies a couple times in a row. But they were able to turn it around. And this is another series where Envy, you know, has their chances to win. I mean, game 1, they got smashed, but game 2, they were quite ahead. They tried to get a little bit too clever around the Baron. They went for what would have been a super cool play had it worked. You know, the blast cone back in when they're already low HP and they think TSM is resetting, but it doesn't work. And TSM checks it, and the game just became very tragic after that.
Also, you have another game. I hate to focus on Seraph again on the top side, but we had the Rumble game where he went Merc Treads first, knowing the other team was all going to build that MR early. Didn't go the hunting guys. They couldn't get anything at a Dragon objective. Then the second game, he goes for the dual Renekton instead of the, hey, I'm going to split push, I'm going to be a menace. And they couldn't have him join the fights as much anyways. Yeah,
I mean, you know, when you go for those builds that are a bit different, like the Blade of the Rune King Renekton, and it doesn't pay off, you sometimes will be a focus of criticism, right? But it's hard to know, you know, is that really the difference between a win and a loss? Here, I don't think it is. I think that he tried something, it didn't really work out, but definitely some issues to be pointed out from Envy for sure.
Alrighty, so for more on that TSM win, let's check in with Pastry Time and TSM support.
Thank you very much. And who else for Father's Day but Bio Daddy himself, the support of TSM. First of all, kind of reflecting back on the weekend and this series, obviously a much better week here for TSM going 2-0. Kind of how you feeling now that the weekend's over and you guys have started to pick up a few more wins?
It feels pretty good. I think in the first couple of weeks, we were like trying a lot of different comps. And then this week, we kind of fell back to a more like comfortable style in which we were like a lot more used to. So I think because of that, it definitely looked a lot better for us. And we're definitely working a lot of our core issues. And we're trying to fix them up for the next coming up weeks.
And it has been interesting to hear you talk about Star because there have been quite a lot of changes in the metagame, particularly in your position in support where the rise of playmaking supports has happened. Do you prefer that? We saw a lot of your bud in spring and summer. You do seem to perform on these playmaking supports as far as personal preference. So your thoughts on the metagame? Are you happy that you're playing more Thresh, more Braum, those kind of champions?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to play a lot of playmaking champions because support normally is a role that doesn't really get noticed unless you play like playmaking champions like Thresh. And now you kind of see some of like the support players kind of like shine with the Bard plays and the Thresh plays, so it's cool to see. I think back in the meta where people mainly played like Lulu, Zyra, and Karma, it was really hard to notice whether or not a support player was doing like everything that he could because it's just not really noticeable. And at least from a spectator's point of view, it's really hard to see. So I'm glad that there's more playmaking supports in the meta now.
And then as far as synergy, kind of with DoubleLift moving back into the team, how's that been going for you? Obviously, you were a rookie when you started playing with him in the summer of last year, and now you've had a whole split with Total and DoubleLift coming back in. How's readjusting him back into the team and building that synergy back been going?
I think it's going pretty well because we've been playing a lot of champions that we used to play before, and we're like used to a lot of the matchups. It's just kind of about working on like team play and kind of like finding out what our style is and what like fits us the best. And it's also trying to like diversify ourselves in a lot of like other different comps because only playing like a single comp and it has a lot of weaknesses. So you should be able to play like a lot of different types of comps. So we've been working on that.
Well, it makes sense. And of course, my final question, the most important one of today, did you wish your father happy Father's Day?
I actually did. Also, you can wish me a happy Father's Day as well. So,
yeah, don't forget to wish the BioDaddy happy Father's Day. Congratulations on the win today, but we are going to send it back to the caster for some more thoughts.
We actually I guess we should take the team fight. What you're showing right now.
Oh no.
Hey, you should take that team fight. It's probably really good.
I bet it's a great team fight, Dash. I agree with you.
Absolutely. Also, now you have two dads to wish Happy Father's Day, so I guess I got to wish my bio dad a Happy Father's Day after that win. It's only right.
There you go. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. But
Yes.
back to the game.
Absolutely.
Or the recap of
the recap of the game. Looking at the team compositions first as they came in, we said in game one it was a bit interesting that Envy chose that all AP. Second game, they diversified a little bit, and they had that early game. We looked for Envy once again, but Svenskeren still a little bit faster with that Elise in.
Yeah, I mean, Sven was incredible in the early minutes of this game. He got TSM out to a very good lead, which they then promptly threw. But Envy did get ahead. I think from about the 10-15 minute mark, Envy was ahead a fair bit and had their opportunities to win this game because to your point, it wasn't a 4 AP comp. It was a very well-rounded composition. They had team fight, they had split push, like they had a lot of ways to win the game. Yep. But sometimes when you go for those risky calls and it's not completely fair to say it's just about the Baron, but that was really the biggest swing point, right? They were in control, and not only did they give up a couple kills, they gave up the Baron because they decided to go for this very risky play. It was super clever, but sometimes you can get a little bit too clever for yourself.
So Svenskeren as well on that play. Actually, we have a role of him, the kind of the man of the hour coming in throughout this series, playing very well, and he got his Lee Sin twice. One of the most banned champions against TSM, but he was able to just get his flow going and starting. This was 2.5 minutes in. That hurts.
Yeah, I mean, then they pull off a perfect turret dive top. They don't even have to blow a flash.
Yeah, that was
to get the summoner out of Seraph and take him down. Really just across the map. Sven was everywhere and getting things done. He pulls off a gank mid lane, pulls off a dive top lane, pulls off a dive bot lane. He really was on fire, and for a guy who has been the target of some criticism from TSM fans, from TSM haters alike, it's nice to have a good game like that for himself. But I gotta say, like, even when Sven is not playing his best, I feel like he's always good on Lee Sin. Like, this is his champ. Like, this is the one that you have to be very scared about giving over to him. I feel like it's on some of the other champions that he struggles more because you can play super aggressive and do these crazy invades on Lee, partly because you have the great mobility and ward hops and stuff to get out. And on some of the others, you don't have as much flexibility with that, so he can get punished more often.
One of the things when I think about that in Sven is his Lee on the world stage. He's been able to do it with that composure. It was nasty. Exactly. As we move on, we do remember you said TSM kind of had a bit of a throw bit where they were playing catch with Envy at 10 minutes in, DoubleLift flashing forward, kind of taking things into his own hands here, but his hands, they were a bit a little fumbly.
A little bit unlucky there for DoubleLift. You know, he watched the Keith highlight from yesterday, and he's like, I can do that. Hold my beer. But it turns out a little bit harder than it looked, and he was able to miss. But this is where it kind of gets bad, because they move forward, they're kind of committing to a fight, and they come down. The TPs are coming in. You know, the TP from Hauntzer is pretty far away, and Seraph is just TPing straight into the middle of the fight. I mean, look how far away Hauntzer is.
Yeah.
And DoubleLift now, without that flash, they're able to pile in on him, take him down. Hauntzer ended up sticking around a little bit too long here and dying as well, so it ends up being like a 4-for-0 in the extended play from Envy.
So I remember now, I was like, how did Hauntzer get back down towards Dragon in this? Because they're like, Bjergsen's gone, and they go kill Hauntzer. It's so extended.
Yeah, he kind of just wanders down. He wanted to pick up the huge wave bot, right?
Yeah,
He's like,
you're right.
I can just run down bot, grab that CS. Unfortunately, he dies too. So this was
Good
kind of an unfortunate series of events there for TSM, but it all swung back once again.
It did. Right after
how the pendulum swings.
Right after that play, we remember Envy getting in the jungle, taking Svenskeren down again. That played out to then the Baron, where Envy did feel like those invades gave them the upper hand, and they say, "Oh, we backed off. We're done at Baron." But we're not.
Exactly. I mean, Envy killed off a couple TSM members. They're like, okay, TSM pushes off. They're going to reset. So they blast cone over, but Biofrost comes back from base. He had died earlier, finds them at no HP here. DoubleLift hadn't even based yet. Svenskeren comes back. They pick up a couple free kills.
I like how he just walks at LirA.
Yeah, I mean, Seraph, Seraph actually sliced and diced into the wall. He tried to go over an area that was too thick. So maybe had he stayed alive, maybe they can stop that Baron. But either way, TSM do get the Baron. From there on out, like, look at the gold swing. That was
much
right at
different
the
from game one.
Exactly. I mean, right at that 32-minute mark or so, Envy was in control. They're looking good. They give up the Baron. It goes straight in TSM's way. And after that, it was all TSM all the time.
It's funny. I remember the analyst desk kind of rolling out last time with, I think they should stop giving TSM that many comfort picks. And they get the Syndra and the Lee again, back the Hauntzer with play of the game in one. He gets that one on the Gragas, and it just goes awry again for Envy once they get control.
I mean, it's tough. TSM, they have pretty deep champion pools, right? These guys can play a lot of things. If there's one you might want to talk about, maybe it's the Lee Sin, right? Because everyone kind of says that's Sven's best, but like Bjergsen can play everything, DoubleLift can play everything, Biofrost has a deep champion pool, Hauntzer is showing carries, he's showing tanks. Like, it's hard to knock these guys off what is considered a comfort pick.
And you talk about that Lee Sin a little bit. Svenskeren getting player of the game here in 2. We saw Bjergsen going off, but this guy was putting everything on a platter. A 2-minute hit for Bjergsen there. You know that guy's going to be able to control the lane. And then it was much different this time. He says, I have to diversify where I give my resources to. He was just about able to hit every lane this time.
Yeah, he really was. And he did such a great job, I think, throughout the game. You know, finding picks on the Lee Sin. You know, the early game was fantastic, but he was able to keep that up through the whole game and really help them close it out well.
Well, that does it for TSM. Taking down Envy. There's more league action coming your way. Up next, we've got our Civil War rivalry as FlyQuest takes on Cloud9. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the North American LCS.
Can't they all just be friends?
Oh, never.